Alright, here is the video review for Transformers Legacy Leader Class. Well, actually, this is Commander Class MOTORMASTER in his truck mode. He showed up from Amazon on the day I got back from Europe, which was a fortunate happenstance for a couple different reasons. But yeah, here he is. He is a semi-truck. I will say, like, I had to, these little wheels fold out and down. And this one was a little loose. I already had to put some floor polish right here just because this hinge was a little loose, but that seems to have fixed it. He is a little shorter as a trailer truck. Like, his trailer is a little shorter than we usually see MOTORMASTER. Usually the trailer would come out a little bit further to about here. But I kind of dig it. Again, driving in Europe, I saw a lot of cool trucks and small cars and things. Like, I'd love to see a lot more European cars show up in the Transformers line as alt modes, but I did see some short trucks like this. So when you first think of when you first look at it, it's like he seems a little stubby for MOTORMASTER. But the more I mess with him, the more I've come to enjoy it. I like this becomes the combiner body in a way that's there's a leftover piece that I wish they managed to find a different way of utilizing it. But all in all, not horrible for the thing. You can see the chest right there as part of the trailer. It can detach. It just has a peg. You saw it was swiveling right there. And then there's a little, mine didn't stay up super great, but there's a little support thing. So if you just want to have it as a trailer sitting off to the side, it can support itself while you play with MOTORMASTER himself. Before we get transforming, we'll show them off in vehicle mode here with this is the team coming together because we got Dragstrip and MOTORMASTER, and in France, in Paris, I stopped at a comic shop and found Wild Rider. So we got 3 of the Stunticons. Somebody has Dead End now. I just saw our video for Dead End, and I'd love to have that one because if you have Dead End, you can kind of approximate MOTORMASTER with or without a second Wild Rider because the way the legs work, they kind of hide back there. Anyway, we'll show off him later. We'll show off his whole transformation and everything in his own video, but we will use him for combined mode here. And also, just to turn him into combined mode, you just lift up his windshield, flip up that, and like that's pretty much it. And then he's going to peg in for here and here onto the back of the leg. But that's the extent of turning him into leg mode. Very easy. And we'll show how he turns into an arm. I leave the little guns on because it's easier. Anyway, we'll get to that later on in the video. Let's go ahead and unpeg him, set this off to the side for the time being, and focus on MOTORMASTER, the robot. Here, he is a truck. Yep. And so Transformer will go ahead and flip the wheels flat. Those can be a little bit of a pain to get back out. I kind of have to pull here and get a fingernail under here when you're transforming back, but we're not going to be doing that for the rest of this video. Just FYI, flipping those wheels back can be a bit of a pain in the butt. Come up here, and then we unpeg these little pieces right here, fold them up, and flip them up around to the front here. Go ahead and untab the top part of the cab from the front. Yeah, you can kind of push on the back and get your fingernail under there. But lift that up, flip that down and around. It tabs right there onto the front of the cab, like that. And then you can kind of untab this, and you can see bring his whole torso up and around like that, and unpeg his legs. Back here, open this up, take this, rotate the small cab around like that. So he's got his little cab feet. He uses the grill piece here, rotates around. I've seen the thing is complaints about that. I've seen people saying, "Oh, I can't believe people are complaining about this fake parts." And I've only seen people talking about the people complaining about the fake parts. I have not actually seen anybody complaining about the cab feet. I think it's a rather ingenious way of doing it, and got a little scratch there on the windshield. Oh well, and it still gives him his cab feet from the old toy. That doesn't bother me that much. And then this piece just kind of folds around and tabs in there, folds around, tabs in there, and then you unpeg the arms from this piece and fold them down and around like that, and then the whole wheel piece flips over his head, down and around onto his back like that, and then open up this, flip out his fist. In the vein of so many of these Transformers. Make sure this is all pegged in and snapped together. And there's MotorMaster in robot mode. Bring his knees all the way up. There we go. It's a pretty decent MotorMaster. He's got his box head, which just swivels, because again, it's a big box head. Shoulder, double hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, single hinged elbow. Does have a wrist swivel, which is nice. Waist, dual hinge hips, which ratchet front to back, and are a little loose side to side. But they do ratchet, they're just not as clicky. Thigh swivel, dual hinge knee, and then you got articulation there in that little cab piece. But yeah, there he is in robot mode. Turn him around, he's got the wheels back here and all this stuff. While he's in robot mode, you can take the trailer, and at first I wasn't sure how I felt about this, and once I got it all put together and assembled, I'm actually kind of digging it. But fold that up, and then you take this piece, unpeg the front. The sword should stay pegged in right here, but sometimes the process of pulling it off will take it off that peg. But there's a sword, which his robot mode can use. We'll go ahead and have him hold that. And then you take these two pieces, separate them apart like that. You can see the fist sitting in there. And then in here, pop these two pieces apart. These will be the leg pieces. And this supposedly forms a gun. It does flip out some barrels. It's not a really intriguing gun. I don't care for it. But if you got to use some extra pieces, you got to use some extra pieces. But he can also hold this here in his hand. You can use either peg as a rifle for MotorMaster. It looks a little silly like that. It's because there's, from the angle he has to hold it at, it's just a flat piece of plastic. It's not visually appealing at all. So minus points for that, but yeah, the overall the package I think is pretty solid. That's a little bit of a yeah. So anyway, we'll take these pieces. These are the pieces that, like I said, will become the hands, but we're just going to take them and fold them down here at this hinge like that. And set them off to the side for the time being. And we'll go ahead and flip out this just the lower part of the foot here on this piece. And we'll set those off to the side. And then we'll take the core here. And you lift up this middle block and then peel it around the side. And then you bring it all the way down like this. And that forms, you snap it all together like this. This is the extraneous chunk. This doesn't really, some people have turned it into like some extension for the gun and all that, but this is just an extraneous trunk. It forms a tower here for the base mode, but in the combined mode, this is kind of extra. Then here, we're gonna go ahead and flip that down and flip legs up. Do we rotate this around like this? I believe that we do here. Stays flat like that. Because we're gonna take this like this. Oh, rotate this. Rotate that around so it's flat. And then this piece, you can see there's a couple tabs here that will tab into that. Tab underneath the waist piece or the abdomen piece. There's a couple slots right here. So tab that in. The arms with the wheels flat like that. There's a peg right there. Peg in to form kind of a upside down U shape, but you just peg these in. This one was on the outside. This one's a little further in, so it sits right there. Come on, there we go. All right, so stand that back up. Peg this back in to here. Now the instructions for this have the leg pieces plugging in. You use the peg on the toe to sit like this as emplacements on the end of the base. And then the gun itself, you can kind of split these two handles here, lift up this supposedly targeting piece, and then it pegs on right here on top. And you can have MotorMaster stand back there and wield it. And that's the base. Somebody mentioned that they took these leg pieces and plugged them onto the side like this as the base. I'm not sure if they used the front or back peg, but I guess you could do it like that too. It does kind of reduce the length of the base, the width of the base, It actually doesn't look too bad. So you can do it either way. I think any of these pegs here on the feet can be plugged in anywhere here on the base. And like I said, then you can have MotorMaster stand up here. You can give them, you can widen these up so both hands can hold the gun. You can just attach the one if you want, which I'm just going to do here for the sake of just having them wield the weapon. There you go. So there's MotorMaster on his base wielding the weapon with a flip-up view screen. It's just a solid purple plastic. I don't like that gun. There'll be third-party add-ons galore for this. You still need it as a complete piece to reform the trailer. It's part of the roof of the trailer. Unfortunately, it's not on the underside where you could just leave it out and just not have to deal with it. It does form the flat part of the top of the trailer, but oh well. I'll go ahead and take the weapons off. And now we'll start getting to Menasaur mode, or what we can make of Menasaur mode. So like I said, this piece, for the time being, I don't know all the fan modes for using this as a gun chunk. I know it involves like taking this and taking the gun and attaching it, plugging it in like that, and then using this as like a big old cannon for Menasaur, which is also not visually appealing, but yeah, you can do that as you will. Some people have turned it into a jetpack type thing, but like I said, we're going official for this video review. If I find a cool way of using it, I'll point it out. But now for the legs, all we do here is just flip that panel up, and that's going to be it for the leg piece. Also, I don't know why these are so hollow, although again, very easy for a third party or even just somebody to design something that can be 3D printed to just tab into these slots and fill that cover. I don't know why they didn't do that originally, but if you don't like those hollow bits, that's easily fixed. It shouldn't have to be, but it is something that can be easily fixed in the aftermarket. And we'll go ahead and pop the arm panels off. And you can see we've kind of got, there's the main torso block right there, the two legs. And the legs attach, you can see, at first I thought maybe you could swap them around so the cars sit in the front. You can rotate them here at the hinge, but like the slot only goes on one side, and it only goes, if you don't put it on the right side, it'll only go that far in because it's offset. It's not right in the center or up near the front. So you can only attach these properly to the proper side. You can see that one goes all the way in because the tab's on the right side and it's set further back so that the piece of plastic, there's a ridge in there that keeps it from going any further forward. So you just tab them, but you tab them in like that. There is some ankle tilt in them, so you can get them pretty solid there. And there we have that much of him. Go ahead and raise this up. For this, the arms, just want to go ahead and straighten up. I fold this down, fold that down, so it collapses up against the arm, fold the fist out. For the time being, that's all you do. Same on this one, straighten, snap it back together, fold it down, fold it up, flip the fist out. Fists don't open, they're just solid pieces of plastic, also a little bit of a shame, but whatever, there you go. I don't know if it was any of that on camera? Yeah, that probably was. Anyway, fold them up, we'll deal with those more later. And then Menasaur, or MotorMaster, Menasaur is where we're going. Let's see if I can remember this. He's got to do some weird gymnastics to get into combine mode. You got to flip this back over and around. Does it flip around like that? Maybe it flips around like that. Anyway, the arms come up. Oh, no, it flips around like this. Then the arms come up and around. Yeah, like this. And then you fold them down. So you can see there's a peg hole here that's going to peg onto the top of this. I'm going to rotate his waist around so it's facing backwards. Yep. And then other arm, rotate the whole chunk out like that. And just rotate it so the purple's facing out and then folds down into there to peg onto that. And then the legs, you're going to bring these up, and you got to get this tab into the side piece here. And a lot of it's just figuring out his stupid knees. You got to unpeg this like that. There's just a way to collapse the knees here that this will fold up just right to get. There we go. Nope, not quite. Come on. But you also need to make sure that this sits inside the leg, because you're going to need to. There we go. All right, you got to open that up. No, you don't got to open that up. And then tab that in like that. But see, yeah, you need to make sure the knee's in there, because this piece is going to come in and go back into vehicle mode position to snap in like that. And then the cab piece folds around and tabs in like that, and this is where the arm is going to connect. And then, all right, before you do that, flip his head around, pull out Menasaur's head like that, flip up his antenna, and then fold MotorMaster's head into there. Then push that down to lock it into place. It should tab. There we go. It should tab. And then you can tab all that together right there. Open that up, collapse the knee back into the body, and then close that back up again. That's how you do that. And then snap that up back into the torso there like that. And then take this right here and plug it in. So it's not like the Magic Square or the smaller Menasaurs where the trailer forms everything and then you just plug MotorMaster in. He is the head and a significant chunk of the torso, as well as the arm connection in combined mode. So he is important to the thing. You can't ignore him and leave him out. I'm sure somebody's going to find a way to do it, but you don't have to. And then this, you can see there's a couple pegs here that are going to peg into the back of this torso piece, snap in like that. And then this black piece with a tab, the purple piece, folds up and pegs him in and holds him into place right there. And then these two gray pieces on either side of his head here. Let me see if I can raise it up like this, actually. Come on. Let's see if I can get my tripod to. Oh, come on. There is a way to make this scroll down and be supportive and raise the height of it, but it doesn't want to work for me today, so whatever. One more time. There we go. A little bit higher than that. There we go. So the arm pieces, for the sake, this is will be dead ends piece, so we'll go ahead and transform it. The way the arms transform is you undo this hinge and then fold it up like that. So you can see it was like that, folds down like that, and do the same down on this piece. And then this piece, this is the piece that on the other side was loose, but it folds in like that. And then you got a hinge there, and a shoulder swivel, or an elbow swivel and an elbow hinge. And you got some ratcheting action there at the shoulder. But basically this piece just clips on right over here. And now you've got one of his arms. And then I told you we'd show you how they transform. We showed dead end, he just flips up his front end. For drag strip, again, I leave the guns on because you can. But you plug him on, there's a little tab here that will release his middle half. You tab him onto the arm before you do that previous transformation. But because of how it works, now that he's untabbed here because of that peg, you just lift this up and he automatically comes loose and is part of the transformation fully attached there in arm mode. Go ahead and turn the guns around because they work better that way. And you see you still got the full articulation, but you can transform the arm with drag strip attached. And if you want to go back to vehicle mode, you can, again, collapse that arm down, collapse that arm up, just make sure that tab goes in, and now then you just pop him right off and he's fully reassembled as part of the transformation. Very clever, very cool. Makes up for the lame rifle for Menasaur, because I think that's a really neat gimmick that they did that in such a way. Snap that in, fold that wheel down. Oh. You miss? Nope. Why does it not want to rotate at this? Oh, because he's not all the way. There we go. So why is it not moving? I didn't have the upper part all the way collapse. And then just clip them on. And there is Menasaur combined. Let me see if I can't. Got a fingerprint, I think, on the lens there. We can take care of that. Just a little blurry. Anyway. And then let's come down here to his legs. For dead end, you just take the leg and you just plug it on. There's this purple piece will spring load and close the doors there. You can hold it closed from the front, and you can probably jury rig something. It looks like there's some grooves in there. You could probably wedge something in there. When you take dead end and plug them on, it holds those panels closed, and now he's got one arm and one leg, and that's what he looks like that. You can take this, and again, you can rotate it at the thigh if you want to have the cars facing the front. It works. I mean, like if you want to have that display, but it does expose the knee now doesn't bend the right way, and it exposes all of that. Somebody, I think, has already printed some covers to hide that, like some little cosmetic things that snap over that. But, I mean, the official way is to have it on the back like that. And he really is pretty cool. He's better proportioned than a lot of pictures make him look. I always felt like he had, like, once you had the cars attached to the arms, they looked almost too big and bulky. And I gotta say, and even looking at him visually straight on above the camera versus looking at him in the camera, it still feels that way a little bit in the camera. But when you look at him in person, it doesn't look as off. There's still some slight proportion issues, but not nearly as bad as a lot of pictures make him look. And again, he can hold the rifle in either one of the pegs. It's a stupid rifle. But again, I've seen some people where they've taken this and attached it to this. They pegged this in here and had him hold it as like a full arm, like shoulder cannon type thing. And it does kind of fit over his arm, but like, it's just another big giant chunk of plastic. It doesn't look great. And I've seen some people attach it somehow to the back as a jetpack. I haven't looked super far into that one because it also looks a little silly. But all in all, I do think it's a neat design. I love the way the arm transformation works, and I can't wait to get dead end. And that's what I was talking about. If you had dead end at this point, you could get an extra Wild Rider when they were out, and you could, because from the front, once you have dead end over here, visually, breakdown being back there isn't going to make a huge visual difference because of how that leg works. So there's a good look at what he'd look like with 3 or 4 limbs, just to give you an idea. I do have an extra drag strip. I could probably grab it and attach it, but I don't want to open it just to stick him on as an arm, because I really would like to have dead end. But yeah, very cool. There is Legacy Commander Class MOTORMASTER / Menasaur. And we got 2 more Stunticons to go. I mean, well, I guess 3 technically, although I have dead end. I just need to review him, and that will be probably next. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. It just occurred to me that I did not do articulation for the combined form, but he's got up and down, actually not a little up and down, he's got it side to side on his head. He's got the ratchet there at the shoulder, ratchet forward and back at the shoulder, an elbow swivel. It's not really a bicep swivel, and an elbow hinge. His wrists also click around there. He's got waist swivel. He's got ratcheting hips in both directions. He's got ratcheting knees. And he actually does have a little bit of front and back and some ankle tilt to 1 degree. Again, the legs only go on one side, so the ankle tilts toward the inner part of the leg. But yeah, so he's actually fairly articulated for a big guy, although in the ways you'd expect. Like he's not going to pull off, like an Ocular Max or MMC Optimus Prime levels of posability. And it is a bit of a shame that his hands are just solid chunks. But all in all, again, big Menasaur, very cool. Check him out.